Joined live from Washington by international lawyer and Asia specialist Nathan Park. Nathan, thank you for joining us. Moon Jae-In is the first liberal president coming in after 10 years of conservative rule. How much change can he bring, really?
I think there will be a significant change because the 10 years of conservative rule rolled back a lot of the reforms that had happened under the 10 years of liberal rules that preceded that. And Moon Jae-In comes directly from that heritage. He began his political career as a chief of staff for President Roh Moo-hyun, who was the second liberal president. And one can expect that he would continue a lot of the former liberal administration's policies.
Domestic issues were very key in this election. What was the biggest issue, do you think, for South Korean voters? Was it unemployment that's at a record high for young people now, somewhere around 10%?
The unemployment economy always is a big deal, but really the biggest thing was about just how unpopular Park Geun-hye administration has been. And when people elected Park Geun-hye in 2012, as you know, Park Geun-hye was a daughter of a former dictator, and for a lot of people that was a strike against her. But for people who supported her, they thought she would be able to bring back at least some good parts of her dictator father's rule about economic development. But turns out she brought in all the bad parts, which is corruption and incompetence. So Korean people have basically experimented with bringing back the old style semi-authoritarian rule. And having impeached Park Geun-hye, they decisively voted against it.
Well, how likely is it that Mr. Moon will be able to clean up corruption in South Korean politics?
It will be tough, but he is backed by a very strong popular mandate. He won by the greatest victory margin in South Korean democratic history. His party is the largest party in the National Assembly, and is likely to get bigger as other liberal parties will coalesce around him. And towards the end of Park Geun-hye's administration, to her credit, ironically, a very strong anti-corruption act called the Kim Young-ran Act has passed. So I expect that Moon Jae-in administration will have a strong hand in battling corruption.
Let's talk a bit more about North Korea. Moon is the son of North Korean refugees. He campaigned on this pledge for more dialogue with North Korea, something that the United States is not particularly for. Can that approach work?
I think it would. And there is precedent for pairing up a U.S. president who is a hawk versus a South Korean president who is more of a dove. Back when George W. Bush was president, he was a hawk as any hawk could be. He called North Korea part of the axis of evil. But the two liberal presidents that overlapped with George W. Bush, which was Kim Dae-jung and Roh Moo-hyun, favored a radical degree of cooperation and dialogue with North Korea. And in the end, both happened, where North Korea's military provocations were answered strongly by South Korea, but at the same time, there was dialogue and engagement. So I think at the end of the day, cooler heads will prevail and pragmatic approach will happen.
Nathan, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. That's Nathan Park there, an international lawyer based in Washington, D.C.